I know what you're thinking. My God, how orange is that shirt? You'd be right, it's very orange. And probably no matter what I say in this video, regardless of that content, that will be the most commented on thing in the video. Until inevitably we reach the counterculturalist who will say, but is it really that orange? Anyways, moving along. So I wanted to do one of these talking head videos because you're always navigating what you're going to do with your channel. I'm thinking about what I can do with mine and how I can help people and what's sort of a good spirit to go ahead with this channel. And of course I want to, and I'm sure as you saw in my last video, if you did watch it, that there's a sort of like more professional, high production value sort of thing that I want to do is I manage the studio here in Kyoto, and I'd like the studio work that I do to also be reflected on my channel. But when I began this channel, there was a spirit within it that was always to help people. That's how I started. I made all these videos about how you could come to Japan, how you could teach in Japan, and it was especially relevant because that's how I came to Japan. Now, many years have passed, and actually I would say kind of generationally, you have a whole different group of people coming to Japan, and a whole different group of people who see my older videos as well. In fact, I would say that's still how I am mostly found when people find my channel. It's these old videos that I did on teaching, because people know how to look up, how do I get a work visa in Japan? They don't often look up, I want to see beautiful shodo or Japanese calligraphy. It's just easier to find me that way. And I thought that because I have switched into this more, I want to tell stories and do documentaries and things that you might see as being more likened to something on Netflix than you would see on YouTube, it doesn't mean at all that the spirit to help people is at all gone. I thought I could do it more in the sort of art that I created, but when I would like to help anyone in any way that I can, I was thinking of returning to or reminding people that if they do have questions about teaching in Japan, it's something that I'm more than happy to assist with. I don't do it anymore. It's been a year since I've done that. I've moved on to, as I mentioned now just moments earlier, I manage a studio in Kyoto, and that means I'm not in the shit, so to speak, but I did have 8 years of experience doing that. I did work for a board of education, I worked for the garbage dispatch companies, and I worked for a quite prestigious private school where I got my teaching license. So I have a good sense of the whole thing, resources for where you could best find jobs, also a sort of peace of mind that I can offer people with a lot of, let's say, concerns or worries that they have. And so I do want to help people with that, and I think it bears repeating to people because they sometimes might feel alienated from those questions where they thought, Dave does this kind of video now, and so I'm bothering him were I to address him with that question rather than be focusing on what he does. And it needn't be that way. I think as we become happier, more successful, more in line with our passions, then we don't want to do less, we want to do more. And so it's with that mindset that I'm making this video with the title that I want to help you come to Japan, because it can also be some people come for teaching but they come for other reasons, and I can assist with all of that in the sense of history that I have. Now, people who want to flame me for information will always be humorously pushed back upon, where they don't have any respect and they treat you sort of like an information vending machine to which they put no money. I hate that, but the vast majority of people who contact me are really polite and really appreciative of my time. So I'll put the email address that you can use if you want to contact me with any of those kinds of questions down at the bottom of the screen. It's contact@DaveTrippinJapan.com, or you can just go to my website, DaveTrippinJapan.com, and there's the form that you can fill in there to write me a question. Both of these viable ways to get a hold of me, and I'll be more than happy to do my best to help you. What are we in life if not a service to others? I think it's really important that we do this. And I would love to see another generation of people coming over here who have the best experience that they can. And I would like to rid from people this misconception, popular misconception, or sort of narrative that we tell ourselves about teaching in Japan, which is to put ourselves down. I mean, it's like a trope that people think of now, where if you're teaching in Japan, then from one perspective, it can be the worst thing in the world, right? Oh, you're coming over here, that's going to delay your career, it's not a real job, you're not going to be treated well, nobody respects you here, and such a menial thing. That's one perspective. But then the other is, you get to live in a fascinating foreign country. You're going to have an incredible experience of a culture that's not your own. You're going to have meaningful relationships with students. You're going to make an impact on people's lives who in many cases don't have any other exposure to someone who is foreign other than yourself. So you can create a massive impact. For a lot of people, say for example you lived where I did in Vancouver, you're going to have a way lower cost of living. So it's viable for a lifestyle, it's viable as a foot in the door to other things, which I've discussed in many other videos, if you can have a plan to do something after you've taught here for a couple of years. It really is just what perspective you want to choose, and I want to be that voice that encourages people to ignore all the negativity and to determine for themselves the kind of experience and the kind of way that they think about coming over to Japan. So that was for the people who've come here for the very specific title of the video, and I've roped you in that you've gotten this far. If you have, I'm very appreciative of that. But now for people who are sort of the OG subscribers to the channel, there's a few things I wanted to share with you. For all others who don't care about like technical stuff or sort of like the more creative things I'm doing on the channel, feel free to head out now. It was good to see you. I really appreciate your time. But for those who are down with the sickness and are interested in what I'm doing here, I wanted to show you a few things. So I pre-ordered the new Canon R5C, and if you know anything about cameras, you know that the Canon R5C is an absolute beast. You want a simple comparison, the camera I use now is a CMOS sensor, which is like a crop. It's small. That is the bucket in which you catch light, which changes everything about the quality of your images and your video. And then with the Canon R5C, it's a full-frame sensor, so it's going to look insane. It's the difference between a production looking clearly like an amateur has put it together, and with the R5C it could be like a Netflix production, a good one. Now, the cool things, to just give you a scale without going into a whole bunch of details about the specs about it, just to give something that people could understand in terms of how far the technology has come, I wanted to relate it to the SD cards that you use. So for example, I got some SD cards here that I would have used in the Sony now, and the fastest read-write speed I have on those cards is 170 megabytes. Not the fastest SD you can get, but it's all right. Now recently, to get the necessary pieces associated with Canon R5C, which should arrive within 5 days now, I believe, you also have to get a new SD card for it, but these are called the CF Express cards. So I got a bad boy here, 512 gigabytes. I won't need to have more than this usually, even for a couple days shoot. But the read-write speeds on this bad boy right here are 1700, that's read, and 1480, that's write. So a little bit better, a little bit faster, significantly so. It's like a whole new stratosphere that you go into when you get this technology. And for those who do enjoy the kind of more artistic side of the things that I do on the channel, you can look forward to just the quality going through the roof. It's going to be night and day once I get this new camera, and it should arrive very, very soon. The last thing I wanted to do a shout out for, if you haven't seen the video, I was really proud of it. I have a friend here, is actually the bar manager at our business. His name's Joe McMurphy, wonderful Irishman. He's not just a bar manager, he is an artist, and so this is a piece of art that I purchased from his most recent gallery, which was really cool. And this actually shows up in the video that I did for him where I documented the gallery for that day where we were all hanging out. And so if you haven't seen it yet, I do suggest going and checking out. It's a really beautiful video, and his art is really, really impressive and cool. And if you're having any sort of a stressful time, which the world is filled with right now, I think you'll enjoy the sort of like laid-back vibes of this video. It has an incredible song from Trent Reznor in it, from the soundtrack of that new movie from Pixar called Lost, which is amazing. If you haven't checked it out, it's really inspirational. It took me some time, actually, in fact, after the movie to appreciate just how good it was. Incredible. Really awesome, just as Joe's art is awesome. All right, that's it. This is a lot of fun. I'm excited to do this more. I've been eating healthy back at the gym. Just pulled 130 kilograms on my deadlift today, and really putting movement before inspiration. There'll be a lot more to come. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you. If you check out my Patreon and support me there, I really, really appreciate it. If you'd like to check out the sort of writing that I do, that's on my website. All of this will be included in the course of the video if you want to check it out. You take care, enjoy this weather, stay safe, hug your loved ones. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.